Israel's Security Cabinet has approved a plan for military takeover of Gaza City in a major escalation of the war. Let's go to our Middle East correspondent, Allyson Horn now. Hi, Ali. So what are we hearing from the Prime Minister's office?
Yeah, hello, Ros. We've received a statement from the Prime Minister's office a short while ago. In it, he details that the Cabinet, the Security Cabinet, has now approved for a full military takeover of Gaza City. It says that 5 principles have been agreed upon for ending the war in Gaza, and that these principles and the plan for a military occupation of Gaza City was adopted by a majority vote. It lists the 5 principles as the disarmament of Hamas, the return of all hostages, both living and dead, the demilitarisation of the Gaza Strip, having Israeli security control over the Gaza Strip, and the existence of an alternative civilian government that is not Hamas or the Palestinian Authority. In this statement, it says the IDF will now prepare to take control of Gaza City while providing humanitarian aid to the civilian population outside the combat zones. And it also says that an absolute majority of Cabinet ministers believed that the alternative plan presented to the Cabinet would not achieve the defeat of Hamas or the return of the abductees. So that is the statement that has been put out by the Israeli Prime Minister's office, the office of Benjamin Netanyahu, detailing that the military now will begin its plans for a full military occupation of Gaza City, which is an area where we know hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have fled to avoid fighting and to escape fighting in other areas of Gaza. What remains unknown now is what's going to happen to those Palestinians that are currently taking shelter and refuge there. There is suggestions in Israeli reporting that these Palestinians will once again be told to move to a different area of Gaza as the military moves into Gaza City. The numbers are a little unclear on how many people are staying there, but we believe it's somewhere around the 1 million mark. So we're talking about 1 million Palestinians that would need to be moved out of there again as Israel expands its assault into Gaza City. We don't have a timeline for how this will work, but Gaza City is one of the locations where Israel believes the remaining 50 hostages in Gaza, 20 of which they believe are still alive, are being held. So this is the information that has just broken after what was a 10-hour Security Cabinet meeting overnight Israeli time.
Benjamin Netanyahu, Allyson, previously, though, said that he wants a full takeover of the Gaza Strip. What's happened to that plan?
Yeah, so just in the hours before this Security Cabinet meeting, Benjamin Netanyahu did an interview with Fox News and said that he wants a full Israeli takeover of the entire Gaza Strip. So that would mean not only a takeover of Gaza City, which is what has just been announced, but also of 2 other areas that the military doesn't have control over. That includes Al-Mawasi and Deir al-Balah. Those are both areas where tens of thousands of Palestinians are taking refuge. We haven't heard from the Israeli government what has happened to that plan, whether or not the takeover of Gaza City is just the first phase of a wider plan to have a full military occupation over the entirety of Gaza. We don't know if that is still the plan, but certainly what has been approved in the last few hours by the Cabinet is just for that expansion into Gaza City. But this will be no small military exercise. This is going to take months for the military to move people out of Gaza City and then to go into Gaza City, where it believes Hamas fighters, Hamas militants are still occupying those areas inside there. We're unlikely to see what we've seen in areas like Rafah, for example, tanks and troops on the ground, guerrilla warfare in the streets, gun battles between Hamas militants and the IDF there. Airstrikes, which we've seen in Rafah, have largely destroyed the entirety of that city. That could be something we might see now in Gaza City as well. It is still a little bit unknown, and this news is just breaking, so we haven't heard anything in terms of like an interview with the Prime Minister. We haven't heard anything from the Foreign Ministry. I'm sorry, I'm still looking down at my phone as I'm just constantly getting updates about what this means now. There isn't a timeline, it appears, as to when the IDF might move into Gaza City, but we already know from Gazans that we've spoken with on the ground, they're terrified of not only fighting coming into Gaza City, but also the prospect of having to move again. Some of these people have moved up to a dozen times from the north to the south, to the centre, to the south, back to the north and back to the centre again. And now they're facing the prospect that they will have to be displaced once again under bombardment and heavy fighting moving into this heavily populated area.